All right. Dun, dun, dun. We're starting off 2020 super hot right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. And you know, I've said this a gazillion times now, special episode. But the thing is, the reason why I find this one special is because we have a lack of female representation on our show. I'm going to say that. You know what I mean?
It's true.
I feel like we speak to so many rappers per year. Right, we're going into episode 155 or something by the time this comes out. Yeah. So a lot of interviews.
Yeah.
But I would say on two hands, we might not even be able to get past the amount of women who are rapping in the game that we've had on the show. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And there's a lot. But I'm saying people who are consistently doing their thing. Yeah. Where it's like, oh yeah, you're really going for this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is what I see in you here. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it.
So, with no further ado, we have Haviah Mighty in the motherfucking building.
Hey.
From the north, I win a coat there. Call me Neo cause I'm so sick. Mom and Papa, they was so strict. That's until they saw my show shit. Now they raise their fists like, go, bitch.
Yes. Thank you for having me here.
Yo,
this is exciting.
Thank you.
I never did an interview while smoking. This is gonna be cool.
Well, it's the world's most smoked out podcast. You know what I'm saying? And
I need it on a t-shirt.
Yeah, hey. I think I got that on a hoodie somewhere.
We have tank tops. I know that much.
Okay.
Oh, you know what?
Hoodies.
That's brandable. I love it.
Speaking of t-shirts, before we even start this interview here.
Oh, okay. What's going on Friday? Oh, careful. Don't.
What kind of?
I got t-shirts.
What kind of gifts?
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Well, it's large though.
That's okay.
I know I got different sizes in here. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Well, off camera we'll get the size to you, but we love hip hop t-shirt for our guest today.
That's
you know
amazing.
That's
I love it. Thank you so much.
That's what we're doing for 2020.
That's how we live it in 2020.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I'll make sure to get you the right size before
of course.
we get out
Thank
of here.
you. I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, Haviah, I'm there pre in your Instagram. Okay.
I'm pre in your Instagram.
You used to have a lot of posts on there.
Yeah.
Everything wipe up. Mm-hmm. What happens?
We had an amazing year in 2019. Like we curated some really like strong content in the beginning of the year for the album 13th Floor, and we had curated content for I'd say like the first half of the whole year, and it was extremely effective.
Yeah.
And then like shows started picking up and opportunities started like really snowballing, and it led to like promoters being like, hey, like here's the flyer for this show, you know. And I started realizing I had to like, I wasn't curating my content anymore. I was like posting and then trying to make it work after the fact.
Yeah.
Because there was so much going on and there was so much stuff to like ensure that people were aware of that I started to post for the informative factor, and I feel like I lost a little bit of like my visionary, like the sight of the visionary aspect of it, and what I actually want the branding to look like.
Yeah.
And I needed a moment for like a break to like kind of give that space. Like I didn't want to take things down when things were really moving, and I felt like November, December, things are always moving, but like it was like a nice break that I was able to like mentally wrap my mind around.
Yeah.
If I were to like undo and redo content, like how would I do it? For the things that are still upcoming, how would I repost them? It just I had enough time in December to like think through how I could do it and if I'm gonna do it and why I would need to do it if I'm gonna do it. Yeah, and I just decided like that it made sense to do so, and like I just did it like kind of for the top of the year. We have like I knew I had some cool things to announce, like the Good Life commercial that I'm in.
I'm a champion all day. That's right. I'm a champion all day.
And then like I have some other stuff coming in January, and it just picks up this year, and yeah, it just felt like you know fresh year. We have so much fresh stuff coming, and there is a lot. Like we're still rolling out 13th Floor. We got singles coming still. We're still riding up the album. So
very dope.
It's by no means like a like all new, like new year, new me. It's not even that. It's just I'm also understanding where my visual branding wants to go more, and I'm understanding like what I want it to look like. So it was a challenge for myself to like get better at like kind of like focusing on like that visual aspect. So curating these posts in advance, like ensuring that the colors are seamless and in line with each other, and like a challenge for me, you know.
You know, it brings me also to another question with you taking that pull back off of social media. Do you feel that like you feel some kind of like a mental break, because like social media could be hectic like like you were saying, like the way that you were posting, like, and it felt like you're posting for them rather than just posting for yourself at this point. Like,
I want to ensure that, like, if I'm posting, like, it doesn't feel like I'm doing it just to stay relevant. I want to make sure that the content that's being posted is really strong. That's another thing too, like, when you're posting, like, for shows and stuff, sometimes they have flyers that you don't love, or sometimes like they don't have flyers, and then you're like, I'm just gonna use this picture that I took at the show or at my previous show to, like, make it work. And it just, like, Instagram is a visual platform, and they come on your page and it's just, people see what it looks like more before they see, like, the content that's being shared, the themes, and, like, the important,
before
like,
they read it, they see it.
Exactly. That's a more simple way of saying what I'm trying to say. So, like, in order for them to feel engaged, like, I look at, like, companies that have Instagram, like, Forever 21, well, they're gone now, but, like, companies that, like, still exist, and, like, I look at the way that they brand, and they're not musicians, and it's, like, very visually pleasing. Like, Reebok's page, for example, I really like the way their page looks. They reached out to me not too long ago, and that's when I saw, like, how nice their Instagram looked, and I was like, I like the way they brand their stuff. So, like, when I look at it like that, I look at myself as a company, and I think Instagram is, like, a representation of the company. Oh, you guys are gonna smoke me out. Damn. So I thought it was important to do that. And social media, like, it can be taxing. So I wanted also with the rebrand for it to feel more like, yo, I'm posting when I want. So I'm curating in advance and more control. That way I'm not, like, feeling compelled to, like, rush to post things when I actually don't have anything going on. Like, I've thought about this days, weeks in advance. So there's never anything that's not intentional. You know?
We'll come back with a strategy. And even when you were mentioning with flyers and stuff for shows, you got a show coming up February 20th in the U.S. It's your first U.S. show, right?
In New York, no, not my first. It's my first New York show, but not my first stateside show.
Okay.
Played Idaho and Denver. It was Denver. Yeah, Denver.
Okay.
And those are my first two shows. So, like, this will be my third. Oh, wait. L.A. That was my fourth. This will be my fourth.
Well, New York's like the mecca of hip-hop.
Yeah, so it feels like a first because I've never played the East Coast. Well, actually, like, when I was with, like, right when like, a few years ago, I was invited for this cypher thing with Team Backpack back when they were really popping.
Shout out Team Backpack.
Pain waivers. I got some gray haters, and I was on but didn't pay fader. This far away racer is saying you can catch his fade later.
Yeah, and I actually did perform once in Brooklyn. So, like, but it wasn't a solo show. It was a cypher that it's not the same as, like, performing as a Vibe Mighty. Like, this is different.
And you're headlining, right?
Yeah. It's like I'm one of the main performers, so it's definitely different. Like, I'm not like this Toronto curated cypher. And I'm, it's like Haviah Mighty, her show, her music. So in that way, it feels like much more like personal.
Can you let us in on a little bit of the game plan for when for that show, or for that, even just for that trip that, like,
I think the main thing this year is creating more seamlessness with the set. So like with this year, I really perfected, like, working with my DJ.
Okay.
And, like, learning, like, what our chemistry is like on stage and what the album feels like. And now we want to, like I use some hardware on stage. We want to kind of manipulate how that looks, make it a little bit more seamless for the audience. Allow me.
Stop for a second. Hardware? What kind of hardware?
Oh, okay. So I have a vocal pedal. I have a vocal pedal. It's called a Roland VT4.
Yeah.
And I utilize it to do live harmonies, live pitching, and I also pre-program, like, MIDI harmonies that I run through this pedal.
Yeah.
And I don't really feel like anyone else is doing it quite the way we're doing it. But I trigger this live myself, and it kind of takes away from a bit of the seamlessness that I want the live set to have.
Right.
So figuring out ways to, like, allow me to do a little bit more in the front-facing scope of the set, in order to. It's just growing the set, realizing, like, what's worked. We know what songs work. We know what songs we want to extend. Some songs are too short. We want to, like, introduce new elements into the set that we haven't done in 2019.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that, we've kind of been working towards.
Okay.
And that show, I don't know if it will be that show, but definitely, like, something in the Q1, Q2 era will be the premiere of some of these new skill sets that we're introducing and just like new approaches as well with the live set. But like the live harmony pitch thing is really cool because a lot of people hear me as a rapper first. They don't really know how much I sing.
Yeah, because you do the hooks as well.
You must think I'm fly. Yeah, like I sang before I ever rapped. Like I took singing lessons for 7 years before I ever rapped. So I feel like that's kind of like one of my first loves, and it also kind of like dictates the way that I rap. Like my rapping is kind of like melodic, I'd say, and I think that's because of the singing and learning like breathing technique and enunciation and all these things that like in rap is not as important in the beginning. I think that I kind of had those skills like early on, so like kind of manipulated my sound, and so I feel when I perform live.
You got a one-up on them already.
Yeah, like I feel like when I perform live, I gotta show them, like I gotta give them like a vocal experience, like and like I do want to experiment with playing live instruments, but I do think like my voice is my best live instrument, so I like to really experiment with what I can do with that. And hardware, I am a fan of hardware.
So is it an actual pedal or something that you're stepping on?
Yeah, it's like a hand pedal. So like I have to trigger it.
It's not a step-on pedal.
It's not a step-on pedal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like it shouldn't even be called a pedal, I guess, but a trigger. I don't know. Like but a controller, but it's really dope what it can do. You know, it's I'm sure there's many options of devices you can use to do this. But the way that I do it, like we trigger like pre-programmed like notation. Like I can make harmonies in advance. Like these hardware pedals can only do like a standard basic harmony. So if I'm singing like it's gonna do the if it's the minor, and then it's gonna do the major version of that. But it can't go any more intricate than that. But like I like to put like church chords in there. I like sevenths, and I want to really manipulate it in a way that no pedal can do. And so utilizing my own pre-programmed harmonies through the MIDI function is something that I think I don't really hear being done unless you really have a choir or like backup singers.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? It's like Raheel or one of those
with the beatboxing.
With the beatboxing, how they have the sound, the machine that it's not like an MP, but they're manipulated. They have like the preset vocals or beats to it.
And even with a lot of these terms that you're using, you sound like you engineer your own shit.
To a degree, yeah. I think I engineer my own stuff to the degree and like to like point, and then give it to the best mixing mastering engineer, or like mixing and then mastering engineer.
But you record yourself.
Yeah, for the most part I do. I actually prefer to record myself.
I felt that because you're saying MIDI terms. You're using all these terms of somebody who's sitting behind there looking at all these things on the computer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think recording myself. I mean, there's beauty in being recorded by other people, like the feedback of someone else. I like recording with someone who understands singing more than just rapping. Like if you understand singing, I feel like you don't automatically understand rapping, but like there's an intricacy to understanding singing that you could put so much trust in the engineer when they get it. Like when they're like, you could do that take again. You're like, oh, okay. Like when I'm in a studio and I do a take and it's not good to me and the engineer doesn't question the take, I'm already out. Like for me, I don't trust anything. I don't trust the judgment of the person because I feel like my standard is higher than theirs might be for me, or they're not like as critical as me, and like so I'm not
pushing
like
you for the best.
Yeah, like I'm worried about what the takes that you end up utilizing are gonna sound like. When I record myself, I don't ever have to worry about what takes that get used in the end because I get to select them. And generally when I record myself, I actually just like do it on the fly. Like I just get the right take on the fly. I don't do 5 takes and then go through it later. Like that. An engineer does that because like they have to like they can rest your ears and all that. But for me, I know when the take feels right, so I just do it till it feels right, and then I just like move on. So I feel like
interesting.
To complete the track, I know when the track is complete much quicker if I do it at home. Like, and I'm not opposed to working in a studio with an engineer. I've done it. I did it.
More hands-on.
I didn't do it on this album. I actually recorded myself on this album.
The 13th
it's more hands-on. 13th Floor, I recorded myself for every song. I did record half the album in a very nice studio, but I was engineering the session still. And then the other half I did at home, which was really cool. But I did not mix and master the album. That was Dan Weston. And I definitely, after hearing his mix and master, I'm glad I didn't. Because that he definitely, he murdered that. And like, I think another important thing is understanding where you shine and where you don't. And I really think that I am very good at making demos in terms of mixing and mastering. When it comes to like that final record, like making sure all 13 songs are the same volume, the same space. I would never trust myself to do that at the current state I'm in.
That's a whole different skill set. Yeah.
I think sometimes knowing when you should step back and hire the right person is important too.
Yeah.
So true.
Let's go back a bit. Okay. You grew up in Brampton. Right, you moved from Malton to Brampton?
Toronto to Brampton.
Right, so tell me about that experience. Like you were from the research I was doing, you were around 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? What was like a typical day for like you in Brampton when you were a teenager?
Do you have a lighter? A typical day in Brampton.
Yeah,
not Toronto.
Not Toronto.
Okay.
Because
I was so young, so
yeah. So okay, when you moved to Brampton at 12, around that time?
No, I moved to. No, and I might have said that incorrectly in an interview when I was younger.
Yeah.
I moved to Brampton when I was like 7.
Okay.
I realized the other day, like, this exact age, because, like, I found a recording, and I was like, oh, that was, like, the year after I moved or whatever, and I was, like, 7. So it's, like, 7, 8. Like, that's when I moved. So I was, like, I don't remember a lot.
Okay.
In terms of, like, detail. But Brampton, I do remember, obviously, a lot more, because I was, like, coming into my young adult self through Brampton. And for me, to be honest, like, Toronto was where I grew up. It was like Gerrard and Danforth area.
Okay.
So like the particular area itself though was quite, I'd say it was like low class, but like white.
I know the area.
Like the white ghetto.
Yeah.
And then like this huge black family, mom and dad, and 4 girls in their dresses, and you know they all play the piano, and I can hear the piano through these paper thin walls, and they all got dreads, and this is just like lower class white area. We're just not like, we stand out and not like in a good way. Like no one's happy for us, you know. It's so like it was just like a weird experience where like, you know, people throw bricks through your window, people egg your house.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like growing up,
in Toronto, this happened, or Brampton?
No, that was in Toronto.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was when I was young, and it's like I'm a kid, so like I can't do anything about it. I don't have anger towards these people. I'm a kid. I'm a child.
Yeah.
So I'm not like, yo, fuck these motherfuckers. Like I'm like, whoa, what was that? Like I'm scared. My parents,
you don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on, and I got 3 older sisters who are also young, and so I'm being sheltered from like even seeing it happening. Like go back to bed. Like you're made to not worry about it, and then like after school you come home. Like I was not allowed outside because of the area. So it was just like I didn't know Toronto really. Like
You're
I
the
feel
youngest
like
out of your siblings?
out of my sisters, and my brother was born when we were already in Brampton.
Okay. Yeah,
So like I was the youngest one at that time. So like yeah, like I don't feel like I got to know Toronto like so much because of my experience was very restricted.
Yeah.
So I got to know my sisters. I got to know like these walls, my bedroom. I got to know making music. I rehearsed a lot. I got very like, I don't know. I feel like I got like a good like understanding of work ethic in those days.
You still play the piano?
My sisters more than me, but I played like I got singing lessons. They got piano lessons.
Yeah.
So like I could play like vicariously through them, but I don't have like the training they
Someone's
have.
trying to make a group, huh?
Yeah, we were the Mighty Sisters. We were the Mighty Sisters, and we used to play in Scarborough. We used to like, I remember we played like Carabana. We were like the Share Paper, and we played like the airport. And I guess our parents were like our managers. It was a little Mighty Jackson thing, you know. But
not bad. Hey.
Yeah, like it's just like lessons were very expensive. We moved to Brampton because of all that shit, and just like the living wasn't.
So you're telling me that, because I remember hearing it in the George Strombo interview.
Yeah,
the Strombo interview about the brick throwing.
That's nuts.
And I was like, I need to hear a little bit more detail about that, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. Besides that, let's go to that first, and then I got another question for you. So, take me to that night when that happened, because I found that a very, like, that made me stop the video for a second and be like, what the fuck?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I know that we experience racism in Canada to a degree, not as crazy as it gets in the States. However, like when you hear stuff like brick throwing and stuff like that, that's more
Toronto.
like our age shit, and like we're man's in our 40s type of shit.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the two things that I like remember. The things my parents weren't able to like shelter us from this was one, like I just remember hearing the brick, and then it sounded like a young white guy, but who knows? You just heard like nigger.
Wow.
Facts. I heard that, and I remember like my parents getting up, and like I remember me not even getting up to like really see it. I just heard it, but like I know like I heard my parents get up and like deal with it. I heard them sweeping the class, but I stayed.
Yeah.
Like we just knew, like stay where you are.
Yeah.
But I just remember that one like, and I remember it happening again, but I don't remember like the details of that time. But that time I just remember like hearing the glass. Like I remember like maybe I was up or like I heard it go through the window.
Yeah.
I didn't like. It was like I was already up or something. I don't know.
That's crazy.
And then the last time I remember, we were just moving to Brampton, and we used to like, my parents bought a new house, and like they scoped out a place. Like we looked Scarborough and like what's the best option, and they felt Brampton was the best option for their 4 daughters who they're trying to, grow. So they bought like a new house, like, being built. So we would like go up every Saturday and see it, and it would be like taller every day, and it was crazy knowing we were gonna move here. So I remember like right when we were like, I think my dad was doing U-Hauls for a bit and taking all the stuff from the house. And on like the day we were leaving, I was in the whip and we were like just outside. So it was called 66 Walpole. It's it's like a residential area.
Yeah.
And then right outside the area is like you're like in the street, like turn into this little section.
Yeah.
I like went back there recently to check it out. So I remember we were right outside the area.
That's nuts.
And someone just they threw an egg from the top. They were like yelling explicitives, whatever. And then they threw an egg from the top, like, onto the windshield.
Wow.
Like, as we were leaving. And I just remember being like, I'm so glad we're...
That's crazy.
That's
it's one of
nuts.
those things where it's like, I feel like if someone says that, I'm like, yo, I'm blow the fucking place up.
Yeah.
But, like, my parents are parents. Like, they actually can't run up on these people.
Yeah,
and then not get arrested. Like, you actually can't really do anything.
Yeah,
so,
they got people dependent on them.
Yeah, and, like, young daughters. So it's like my dad actually
and they have to be an example,
So I think that was what was really tough about it. And like I'm such a like, I'm gonna deal with it now type of person that it's hard. It's I can only imagine how difficult that was for my parents to like literally only get us out. Like they couldn't.
I feel like maybe a part of like that stuff like happened that from before is makes you to kind of deal with it now type of person you are now.
Yeah, I think so.
You know what I'm saying?
I think like it makes you stronger. You realize like you shouldn't put up with certain stuff. And like my parents, like, I look back now and I understand what they did. Like they gave me an opportunity to like not have to become this like young, angry black female. Because I wasn't the one dealing with these issues.
Yeah.
Like they were dealing with it. I was sheltered. So I was able to just make music and join the choir and like do these things that you have to do that I now realize I've clearly determined who I am as a person.
Yeah.
And then I still carry with me this importance of speaking to my experience, but like, I don't know, you can taint that experience like really young. Like those people could have really tainted me. Like I could have been a different person.
Oh, for sure.
Even me moving to Brampton, I think if I grew up in a certain area in Toronto, I'd be a different person.
Yeah.
I can tell.
Definitely.
I can tell I would be a different person. And
that's for anybody though.
That's for anybody, I agree. And I think that like I don't know how in control of the person I think I might have been, I would be.
Yeah.
And that will worry me because I'm already not fully in control of the person I am now, but I understand that my environment has allowed me to like be like, okay, like I haven't dealt with the type of hardship that like warrants a certain type of like hardness that some people need to have every day. I haven't had to, so it's just different. I learned how to make music.
Your parents helped you to do that.
I got 7 years of singing lessons. They were able to afford that. You know what I mean? Like it was different. I was very.
Like you say, you're sheltered in a different way, right? So they kept you occupied by music lessons and your sisters doing piano and singing and doing whatever, not to deal with the bullshit that they were dealing with bricks through the window, eggs on their flipping moving vehicles. Like that's nuts. I can't believe this is like, but. Then this is like how many years ago also, right?
I was like a kid, Like I would have been like...
No, we don't need to age yourself or whatever, but like you just know that's that couldn't fly right now in this city. Like you throw a brick through somebody's window, you know, like consequence. Well, that's probably the least of their worried. Like people,
somebody's gonna get hurt.
Nowadays people are worried because they don't know when a shooting's gonna happen or something's gonna happen, right? So they have to react different,
now.
right?
It would be very different now, and like,
Like you said, your parents dealt with it and you didn't have to deal with it, right? So they were dealing with that issue. Yeah. But you were still being a child. Like you said, you could have been an angry, frustrated black woman, like, because of those two experiences, right? If they let you deal with it,
like more constantly. Yeah. I feel like having me come home right after school was like, if the more conflict is trauma, like to a young body, it's just the more trauma, the harder you got to be to deal with it, like. You like develop new tendencies based on trauma. You have to find a way to navigate trauma. And the more, you know what I'm saying? Like the more your child is exposed to it based on race politics. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna affect her or him. Like it's just, so I just feel like for me, like I'm glad that I had the little barricade that I did to be able to focus on the things that I did. I was able to like be producing at 12
and making music.
Like I talked to some older like people that are like older now and like they're in hood politics, you know, like they don't really have a choice of, you know, whether or not they're involved. They're just involved. It just is what it is, and like it's the opposite of how I grew up. It's just very different. Yeah. You know?
Well, you put a lot into your raps, into your music, right? Like, how long does it take you on average, you feel like, to write, like, a rhyme, like a 16?
Yeah, you different. I used to point guard, set the play on some bullshit. Hoist tall, 7th grade, still a small shrimp.
Because it's not no dibble thing that you write. You put some meat into those bars, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think it varies. I think the more the production speaks to me, the faster usually it comes. But it does vary.
Okay, let me reposition it. Quickest rhyme that you ever wrote. And what song was it for?
The quickest rhyme of a song that I could reference. Yeah. That's actually good.
Yeah, that went out.
Yeah, I'd say 13. I wrote 13. I'd say between 15 and 20 minutes, maybe.
2 horses with opposite mats. Those nooses, they up in the trees and I'm hanging, but I never fall like my pants.
Okay.
That was probably that was like not a. That song doesn't have a hook, so it's just like I don't even know how many bars it is. Yeah, it's over 16, but I remember that one. It was just I'd been sitting on that beat. I'd written like 2 or 3 songs to that beat, and I was like not fully impressed by them. I felt like the beat was so good that the song that I could do better, and it just. I remember I was like Googling, like sometimes I just, you just Google YouTube shit. And I was on YouTube and I stumbled upon the 13th Amendment. And like I'd always thought about the parallels of like the slave system.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the slave one, right?
Yeah.
Free servitude.
Parallel to like the slave labor and prison labor. And like the parallels of those two things.
Okay.
I've always thought about the parallels of those and like how like slaves, I guess criminals, which is, I guess, the same thing through the 13th Amendment. That's the whole point of the song. Right. But, like, if you're a criminal and you're imprisoned, you're going to be... Like, if you're in prison, in American institutions, you can work for, companies, like...
Yeah, the chain gang and shit like that over there. Yeah.
Where people have, like, salaries.
Yeah.
Like, IBM and shit. Like, and, like, I just remember, like, reading that when I was younger and being like, oh, that's, like... really ironic, like that's very clearly, the song that I wrote, but like I didn't write a song at the time. Yeah. And I remember when I read the 13th Amendment and it just like plainly said like, no one's a slave anymore unless you are doing crime. Then you're still a slave.
If you're incarcerated, if you're in jail, then
it's just in layman's terms. And like for me, I think I have a difficulty. I have this thing where it's like I know if I write a song about certain topics like black politics as a black woman or female politics as a black woman. Yeah. I think sometimes the listener has this like, oh, of course, like she's going to have that bias. Therefore, like I already knew she was going to have this opinion. It's not anything new to me. It's not wowing me. And it like, the song's not going to have the impact I want the song to have. Because I want every possible person that listens to it to be moved by the information.
Right.
I felt like by writing about the 13th Amendment, I was not talking about my opinion on it. I felt like I was talking about straight facts. Nobody could question what I was saying. Like, Haviah Mighty is completely removed from that narrative, and it's like I literally am just narrating some shit that exists in the world, and you can't really argue it. And it makes it easy to perform that song in front of like a crowd of people that are like, I was not expecting you to go there. It's just like, I read
They didn't expect to get educated.
Yeah, I read a thing, here you go. Like, it's not like, and I feel like, like, songs are so emotional and they come from us. And, you know, in Women Colors, a song that talks about, like, you know, in some, like, deeper themes, but it's very personal. It's, like, specific to me. It's, like, literally a narrated story of something that happened to me. So, like, it's the opposite, you know? I feel like 13 was, like, it was important to write a song like that. Because I wrote it in 15 to 20 minutes because it wasn't really coming from me. Yeah. Like, I was narrating a thing that I learned. Like, I was so blown away by the information that it just
like flowed out of you.
Yeah. So it was one of the quickest songs that I've written because the production was so strong. I knew it so well because I'd written 2 different songs to it. Yeah. And now I had new information and the inspiration hit. It was my day off. I wasn't working.
It just fit.
Yeah. I just smoked.
And just put it down.
The song was done. Like 15 minutes. So like, it varies, but it can be as short as that. Like if it's a really short thing, you could write it in, you know, a 10, 15. But like, I like to like write something quick, cut it, bump it, refine it. That's sometimes like I find my process right now is kind of that. I get a beat I really like and I vibe to it and I kind of like just go with like my initial vibe. And then, like, I refine it because there's going to be so much in there that I don't like when I freestyle. Like, that's just, I'm a perfectionist and
So how do you choose your beats? What's your beat selection like?
That's a good question. My brother, he goes by Mighty Prince. He produces and he is very good. And, like, he's a great jump-off source because he's an 18-year-old kid who makes beats in my room. And so I literally just hear the heat. And if I like it, I'm like, yo, send me that shit.
Like right off the press.
Yeah. So you're getting fresh pull.
And he's 18, so he's got that young energy.
He's got the pulse.
Yeah, he like has 4 older sisters who are all musical. 3 of them play the piano. Yeah. We all sing. Like there's so much resources he's pulling from. He played sax in the band. Like so he just I'm gonna make him implement that. Like if he doesn't see it yet, he will see it soon.
Come on, like yo.
Yeah, I think he just got an ear too. Yeah. And he just has the.
Well, he's a 5th, like you said. He's number 5, right? Yeah. Or 6, 5.
5.
Yeah.
Yo, that's dope.
And the only boy.
Everyone sings and plays piano. You rap. So yeah, like you say, your parents. They're not musical?
My parents, they are musical, but they're just not musicians like you think. Like, but no, my dad he builds his in-house sound systems, just strings everything together. Like
turntables, records.
Yeah, records, and then like the actual, like the horn of the speaker, like builds it, puts it in a box, makes it red, yellow, and gold,
like a sound man.
Green, and you know, like.
Okay, he's building the sound.
He's building the sound, like, but he's not like out there, like he's in the house with his
that's
own
for his own personal
sound.
Thing.
Yeah, a sound on every floor, you know, a basement sound, that's the biggest one, and it extends to the corners of the, it's like surround sound, and then on the upper floor he's got
some good basement jam with that type of shit.
Oh, he's like, and he really pushed me like playing the guitar. He like got me my first guitar. He shows it his pride. Like I've seen it because my dad he's not a man who's really like bumping hip hop. You know what I mean? Like. He listens to culture reggae mainly. Yeah. But my dad also does listen to everything, and I feel like somehow like my music's really opened him up. He comes up to my shows now. Like he didn't really come to rap shows before. The energy's different. Yeah. But now he's there. He's like saying the words with me.
Sick.
Like it's like
Okay, that's good. Really, that's a blessing.
Yeah, and I just he's just seeing it grow. They've always supported me so much, but he's just not someone who like.
He's not a hip hop man.
Yeah, like he's more reggae, and you know what I'm saying, and like he's not even like dance hall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like it's not
thing.
even that. Yeah. So I can understand with the content, even my own, that sometimes it's just like it's maybe not where you would go. But I've seen like the palette. His palette has grown.
Yeah.
But he's always pushed. Try the guitar and try these different things. If I'm playing an instrument, he's like, keep going. Like and then my mom, like she's always influenced it so much too, and like they support it. They obviously like they paid for it for years.
Yeah.
All my sisters are so talented. Like my sister Omega, like she's on my song Wishy Washy.
You know me, mighty gal, you real and show me, dirty boy, you more than owe me.
And like I
Omega Mighty, yeah,
I use her for a lot of things,
Yeah.
I use her for a lot of things,
Hey.
I get her to sing with me. I get her to perform with me. She's my makeup artist, so like when my face is really beat, that's her.
Family.
And like.
That's sick.
That's awesome, man. Family.
She's my
man.
choreographer. When I need music videos, I always need to pull her through to like make that come to life.
That Wishy Washy video was fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like with like the whole reggae feel going on in there too. That was
having
a sick
her on
video.
that track helped. Produced by my boy Taboo and Tool Man from A Tribe Called Red. And then that was shot by Adeyemi. He's a photographer I work with a lot. He's amazing, and shot by Shanik T as well. And they really like came through on. They did all 4 of my visuals.
Okay.
From that album, like they did, and he shot the album cover too. He like did the whole visual campaign.
Yeah. Keep it all like one
vision.
roof.
Like so we all understand like what we're doing. So everything makes sense to like the palette. Like if you made a mood board for the album, everybody saw the mood board, and they like their contributions were according to colors we selected, the feel we selected,
Let me ask you, because you're a solo artist now, you're still part of the group Sorority, right?
Yeah, well, we just disbanded recently.
Okay.
We just did our last tour in November.
Because the question I was going to ask at first is, y'all were a 4-member group, and then it went down to 3.
Yeah.
So what happened there, and then why do y'all disband now?
I just realized.
I've seen you guys perform. Oh,
my hair was up the whole time. It was supposed to be like this. So I'm just letting the audience know. Because this is the style.
Just for continuity.
Yeah, I just put my hands up and realized. I was like, wait. Yeah, this is. Yeah, well, anyway. So Sorority.
Yeah.
We became a crew after that initial
International Women's Day. Yeah.
I'm always dropping them big bars. I'm always talking them slick words. You are so rapid, the shit blurred. Lines was crossing them short, but around like I'm talking me big bird.
Yeah, we put out that cipher, and it like went viral. I never saw like 1 million views on something before or since. That was a really crazy thing.
Yeah.
And then we became a crew like a couple months after that because of the demand of like the thing we did. People wanted to like see it live.
Yeah.
I've seen you guys perform.
Yeah.
Connect the Dot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like once we were already a crew.
Yeah.
We became a crew because people like were asking to see us, and we weren't even a crew. So we're like, yo, should we do something with this?
Me, your exes and Vitas, and to this day, y'all still ain't putting females on your festival stage.
And we joined like. Became the sorority at that time. Came up with a name.
Like, how did you come up with the name Sorority? Like,
Lex came up with it. She was one of the members. She came up with it. We were like in a group chat. We were like, what represents female togetherness? And she's Greek. She ended up coming up with the sorority and like went. And we were like, yeah, that works.
Did you have the alpha letters and everything too?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did that whole thing, and it was really cool. And we did that for a bit, and we did the album Pledge in 2018, and I was writing 13th Floor at the same time. So we were all solo artists before we became the sorority.
Right.
So for me, that cypher video actually really sparked like some in my like solo stuff. So the year that we became a crew, prior to that, I was putting out a solo project, and it was called Flower City, and that was like.
Very dope, like an EP.
I was like, I'm gonna do the opposite of what everybody does, and I'm gonna pay a little homage to Brampton. I'm gonna do my thing. Fuck that shit. And I did a project, all like self-funded. I got a little factor grant, and I like really tried to, and that's like this is what I can do without resources.
Is Flower City what they call Brampton?
like I get like in the government like municipality they do. So
yeah,
I
that's
like
what I mean.
flipped
Like,
it kind of.
That's what I mean. Yeah, okay.
I don't know why really. I guess the parks all supposed to have like anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, just sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was a cool spin on something that people, shit on a lot. But like I've been here for a bit. And, like, kind of from here. Like can't really. So I just did my little flip on it. But yeah, like that project came out in 2017, and that was after the Cypher, which was in 2016.
Okay.
So that came out, and then like through that, I started like making some like really cool solo strides. But at the same time, we became a crew, and we started making really cool group strides. And I think the same thing was happening for everybody in the group.
Yeah.
But we chose in 2018 to focus on the sorority. So we did Pledge album. It was a really cool experience. Like we toured, we did things that I hadn't done as a solo artist as yet. Yeah. And it was a really cool experience. Yeah. And then I was during the run of that album, I was writing my next album. I had met my manager. Like the solo career was just doing this. Just moving, and the group was doing this. And I feel for all of us, like that was kind of happening. But yeah, I don't know, like at some point in time, it was me, Lex, Keisha, Phoenix. At some point in time, Phoenix wanted to focus on her solo career. She has a group, a different group. It's like a duo. So I think that's what she like said publicly. She's like, I'm gonna focus on the group.
Her other stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and because
originally it wasn't meant to be a group. It just came together due to the Cypher, the sorority. Yeah,
and like for me, like I was always like I was doing Haviah, like I'm Haviah Mighty all day, every day. So I was always, but like when we started doing the sorority thing, like I was doing the sorority.
Yeah, you're in 100%.
And then I was doing both, and then I was just like, I'll do this until I can't. Like that to me, that was the mentality.
Your mindset. Yeah.
I'll do this until I can't, and I literally did it until like Phoenix had left, and then it was just the three of us, and we did that for another year, almost a year. And then we did a more summer and closing tour. And I think at that point in time, we just like discussed like, can we give 100% to both our solo career and the group? Yeah. And like we us three were all really on the same page when we understood that maybe we couldn't like give it. And we were like, we don't want to like rise something to the ground. Like I felt like we were in a good spot. We felt like we were and like, you don't want to get to the point where it's like starts looking lazy or like something sacrifices. And I know for me, like you start getting double booking and like you commit to something and then something huge comes, for the other thing, whether it's the group or your solo. Yeah. And you just start getting conflicts and then like it's just
unnecessary conflicts. Yeah.
Just in terms of like doing something and then like not being able to do something else and then like literal like mental anguish that can happen.
And also you're responsible for three other people's like kind of like their outbreaks or whatever, because you guys are a group now, right? So they're looked at like, oh, if they're doing something, you maybe
it's all on the group.
It's like it's all on. Now you do your own individual things and they do their own individual thing. You don't have to worry about slack from something else falling on top of you that you might not even have been a part of.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it makes sense?
I think so.
Yeah. Let me ask you a couple questions. And let's get to like some other accolades, because you got a lot of different things going on. Actually, before the accolades, so when I was saying before with this game being a really super heavily male dominated game, right? And very misogynistic with the hip hop, with it being hip hop. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody says, you got everybody bitch and hoe is like the quickest thing that comes out of every rapper's mouth, male rapper's mouth, and female rapper too. Right? How do you navigate yourself through this type of this game as a young woman?
It's interesting because it's like I think my initial approach to hip hop, like as a young female who was raised the way I was just like different. So I was like super like extra conscious when I was young, like just like very like I'm always gonna do the right thing type of like energy and like why do the wrong thing. And like I kind of had some bars in there, but it was still kind of corny. Like I did it in this really corny way when I was younger.
Preachy rap.
Like really, yeah, like preachy rap. But it was like I guess impressive for like 13. You know, so I feel like as I evolved into like the things that I feel
you're finding your sound
value. Yeah, I'm finding my sound and finding ways to say the things that I actually think, and I'm also like refining the thoughts. Yeah. I'm getting older, and like, yeah, I don't remember the question, but
like how you navigate yourself through like such a male-dominated game, especially with it being such a misogynistic one.
I think I just like understand like this is like an ecosystem, you know, that I'm navigating, and there's gonna be elements of things that I don't do. There's gonna be things I don't do. There's gonna be things maybe I don't listen to. There's gonna be things that I don't do but that I like. Like it's just gonna be like hardships. Like everything's just not like, and like I realize the ecosystem that I'm like looking towards. I feel like I'm doing something that's like a lower ratio. Like I think it's easier to come from a certain aspect when it comes to writing. Like I sometimes like I find my pen goes there. Yeah. But then I like sometimes like you might take longer to write a verse because I'm just like, oh no.
You reel it back.
It would be easy. Yeah, like my pen could go there.
My thing is bravado, I'm spitting so calm, but they literally swallow. But I am the seed of the grape. Try it with me, I'm your grave. See who's in pain, not tired and leaving the brain.
Like I understand certain I understand why people, it's easy sometimes, and I understand that like when people respond to it, it's just easy to like, you know, I'm like, yo, if I were to write this, I know people would say
like
this.
If you made some like Cardi B type of shit, or
I understand it because I understand like I'm seeing the reaction, but like I just like understand like what I'm trying to do too, and like I understand the degree like of how close I could get, and like I listen to trap music, I listen to music with the lyrical content like I really probably don't fuck with. Like I'll just listen to the parts that I like are important to me, like the production. And I'll take something like, oh, the kick did this, ooh, the hi-hat did that, like. But I'll just.
You're not really with the message as much.
Like there's a lot of music that I know the content like deep down, like it's the message I'm not really fucking with, but like the flow I'm fucking with. I try to like segment it when I'm trying to like discern art. Like when I'm trying to like determine art, trying to take my personal whatever out of it, like out of there, and like just kind of like assess it on like what does it sound like though, like, and how did they approach what they were trying to do. Like if your song's intention was to do that and you do it really well, I can't really hate. Like that's what you intended to do, and I'm fucking with that. Like there's a time and a place for every like type of thing, but like I just know what my thing is too. And I know I'm contributing, and I know in the ecosystem, like, not a lot of people are, like, needing to fill the void that I feel I'm trying to, so it's like, it's my own little space, and that's kind of cool, too, because I can just, I don't feel like there's, like, direct competition. There's lots of competition, but it's just, like, not direct. I'm not trying to do exactly what anybody's doing. I'm trying to do, like if it was exact, I'd probably try to find something slightly different because I want to just do my own.
Your own lane,
Yeah, but she's already doing different stuff, like with your win, the Polaris. It's different. That's a writing award, right?
It's a album. It's an album. It's based on your album, like the quality of your album, not the quality. The artistic merit of your album. So like basically it's like the best album in Canada based on artistic merit alone. So like not sales or streams or
it's the content, the quality
just like based on the jurors that
and you're chosen between like only 8 different albums or something like that.
10
different albums.
1 of 10.
That's crazy.
It's a narrow field.
It was an amazing feeling because those albums were all dope, and like it was long listed, so like it was initially 40 albums. Wow. That, like, you don't even know if you're going to make it to 10. And there was some really good albums on there that didn't make it to the 10. And I was like, whoa.
So there's 40 albums on the list. You don't know if you even make it to the top 10.
Yeah, like, making it to the 40 is already like, whoa, you made it to the long list. And then 10 is the short list. And when I made the 10, I was like, that means I like for sure go to the ceremony. I was like, that's a win in itself. Like I for sure go to the ceremony and I for sure perform. That means I get to show people what I do live. That's an incredible. Well, at the Polaris.
Polaris is its own thing. It's its own thing.
And it was presented to you at the Junos. Is that how it works?
No, the Junos is separate.
It's a separate thing.
It's its own.
I'm
thing.
mixing those two things together.
Polaris is Junos is like an award ceremony where they give many awards out. You know, and Polaris is just one award a year based on like an album that they deem to be the best one based on artistic merit, based on the jurors that decide that. And so it's like its own thing.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, what did you do with the 50 G's?
Are you getting in the person's business, man?
It's public. They put it out there.
Yeah, she won. Okay, you don't even know what she did with the money, man. Like,
I'll tell you, I reinvested it, like, honestly.
Smart. You know what I mean?
It's probably like portions of that is probably still in the bank account. Like it goes right in the bank, and then everything is just an investment. So
right back into yourself.
Yeah, like facts. Yeah. Okay. So like you just know you're gonna perform, and the performance also does not dictate the win.
So that's what I mean. You didn't know you were gonna. You just knew you're in the top 10. You're like you're invited. You're possibly you could win. And
possibly out of
yeah. That's what I mean.
But like, it was also like so like eclectic, right? Like it was like pop. It was like a sick band, and then. Jesse Riz, Jesse, like, you know, and like Snotty Nose Rez Kids, and there were like, there were many other amazing artists that were like, they were all very strong too. Like that for me, like, I look at it like this: I'm a black female, and like I don't really walk around with the mentality that people are gonna like understand me in different settings. I think I walk around with the mentality that, like, understand how you want to be understood depending on your setting. Yeah. So if you're in a job setting and you got to talk in that certain voice so that they give you that job, and you just got to do what you've got to do. Yeah. And I can do that if I have to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like so.
Code switch.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I forget how I was gonna apply that because.
Those no smoked out podcasts, yo. You know what I'm saying? Well, okay.
Oh no! Is that backwards? Okay.
I got another one for you as far as accolades. XXL rated you as one of the top people to look for in hip hop for 2019.
Yeah, that was really cool.
How did you feel when you heard that?
That was really cool.
Give you a smiley answer. Yeah, that was cool.
Because you know when you got that news, you were like, yo.
That was also like the start of like how do I say? Like blogs and like what do you call them? What do you call those things? Man.
Like not the
like social, like I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now. Press, media. That was like the first of that was like the top of the year of 2019. It was like January. Yeah. And like it was just the best way to start the fucking year.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa, like I was just like, how was I even on their radar? Like, we have no relationship with them. We have no USPR.
How were you on their radar? How did they find you?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's
crazy.
Like, that's nuts.
Like, maybe I don't know the exact.
Maybe they found you through Sorority at the show. Maybe they found you through the freestyle cipher. Who knows?
It could be through anything.
Right?
It literally could be through anything.
Yeah.
And then you won this year, right? The award. It was this year you won.
The Polaris?
Yeah.
2019, because it's...
Well, sorry, it's last year. Yeah. Sorry, 2019. Yeah. My bad. But so that must be... So, at the beginning of the year, they're like, yeah, look out for this person to do big, and then you end up winning a big award. Like, I don't know when in the year, but...
Yeah,
so
like
that
it
must
was...
Like, that's crazy.
It literally... Yeah, things literally felt like they lined up for me this year. Like, it's not... Like, I don't know if I don't really believe in luck, but I don't know, man.
Something definitely.
I've had some good stuff going on, but I've also like really fed back into the good stuff. Mm-hmm. Like when something good happens, I like feed it with hard work. I feel, and like I don't know if that's just gonna keep working, but like I'm just gonna keep doing that because. Yeah, like I just can't. Like I look back at 2019 and it's been like the most productive year of my career, and definitely I've been able to walk away from my full-time job. I've been doing this with full-time job for the whole time.
That's blessed.
That's beautiful.
And now I'm like really, actually, legitimately full-time musician, like doing this and starting to like introduce like a team that I also like am starting to facilitate money in their pockets to help build this thing together. It's just like it's like you know what I'm saying? Like it's just
the feeling is there that you can see. I can see it. It's nice. It's a nice feeling when you know you can help employ people and make people eat.
It's crazy.
Last year, like you said, you were doing it with a full-time job. Now you're like, fuck that. Straight music, 100%.
And like with help, like with having a team, having people that believe in you, having like people that know what they're doing around you as well. Like, you know, you can move money in the right way so you can afford, like I can afford to not have a full-time job.
Sure.
It actually makes more sense to not have a job. And like I literally worked until that shift right there. Like I didn't quit and then like make ends meet, and I respect that like angle as well. Sure. But like for me, like I just had a lot of music expenses too. Like I wanted gear and I needed stuff I had to pay for. So like I always felt like I just needed the job, and I was working at Long and McQuaid, so it was a musical job. So I did that for 4 years, but then I eventually got to that cycle where it's like the amount of hours I'm putting in here, if I could actually put that into myself at this point, I feel like it will turn into money. Yeah. And it did. And
that's
I see
you bet on yourself basically.
You're on a good path. You're moving real quick, and you're moving in a good direction.
Thank you.
Even with everything that's going on with you, right? And there's a lot of things to pull something from the news that's going on right now, right? The whole Harvey Weinstein is back in the news, going through court and all that right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like his court cases are now coming. He's now going to trial.
Okay.
Right? Now with that whole Me Too conversation coming back up in the news and stuff, what I want to know is, have you ever been in one of those situations being a woman in this game? Like somebody tried to put you into a Me Too situation?
Oh. I mean, if they tried, they didn't.
Because I've heard a lot of stories where women go to the studio or guys promise things, but then in the end of the day, they're just trying to smash.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of promises. I was really naive when I was young, but I was also like not with. Like I was like. It wasn't about music. Like I wouldn't even.
Yeah.
So I don't.
You just block it out, really.
Yeah, like I feel like there might have been things that I missed when I was younger, but like there was never anything for me so blatant. But like also like I was like when I was younger, like I wasn't allowed to go to the studio on my own. Like, you know, there were certain things I wasn't able to do. So by the time I feel like I was older, so like I was kind of like I'm like, you know, more like
aware, you know,
more like myself now. But I know people that I would be worried about what they would be like if they were in the studio with somebody else. Absolutely. I worry what they would be like if they were in the studio with someone that looked a particular way. If I see that, I've definitely been around people that I've seen the way they move, and I'm like, I just like I know like sometimes too, like it's like what I do and the box that I book. Check for that person. Like that doesn't mean you're not like a dirtbag or something. Like I can see when you're like you know what I mean. But like
feel those vibes.
I can feel it when it's directed to somebody else.
Directly, so you said
yeah.
Okay, so just to switch gears for a quick second. All right, this is a question that we usually, with all our guests, we've been asking over the last 2 years now, right? Because we're going into year 3. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hopefully not.
No, we're going into year 3 of the podcast.
Oh, well, yeah. That's different. Yeah. But,
you know what I'm saying?
My mind was going somewhere else with the question.
But as far as with the question itself, right? We're looking in the city where it's like gone crazy over the last 2 years, right? Like the level of gun violence has gone through the roof compared to what it used to be, right? And what we've been asking all our guests to try to find some kind of like a compilation answer is what can we do to reduce the problems in 2020 that we've had over the last 2 years, let's say. I know I switched gears like, you know what I'm saying? But it's something that, you know, we're not looking for the most elaborate thing, but like just some parts that we can put together with everything else that everybody else has given us too. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it's not a one answer solution, obviously.
Yeah, it's
right?
like such a multi-layered thing that has to happen. And like, I definitely am not the one to know what it is, but like,
what do you think some of the things that are missing?
If you can make a suggestion on to help something, just what would help? Like, if
I feel like recreational facilities. I think as somebody who responds to those sort of things, I know that there's a lot of people that are responding to different forms of arts, especially in like some of these like inner city communities, like dance, music, visual art, like just different things, and like there's nowhere to express that. I feel like it's a time occupier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like when you look at certain things, like you hear about things like the Remix Project, you know, it's like one thing in one area, and like it's just it's a creative thing, and you can just see like the tentacles of it. Yeah. You know, like
that would be good if they had them all over the city.
Yeah, like even if it was like and I don't know who's gonna fund this, but like it's I think something like that. The audience that it reaches and like what it allows is like this sense of community that I think is the opposition of like the vibe we see in gun violence, like which is so much based on like I'm from here, you're from there, or I'm, you know what I mean? It's it's based on that divide a lot of the time, or based on conflict still divide, and like that sense of community. I think if it's instilled in all of these different, I mean. You still have different areas. I mean, it's not going to solve everything, but I do think the time that it occupies and like the thing that people can bond over, like the priority that gets when you have facilities, when you have resources, when you feel important, when you feel validated, when it's rewarded, when, you know what I mean? Like artists are popping out of the city. If we had things like that, we'd have more artists coming out of the city. Like it would just be like more people like, I'm like, I'd rather focus on this because there's lucrative results. Like, because there'd be lucrative results. And like, we see that there are like with a lot of rappers, but like, like we know like why people often do the things they have to do. Yeah. And like rapping for me was, you know, a volunteer thing for a very long time. It doesn't pay you until it pays you. And so it's recreational. Yeah. And if you don't have facilities to facilitate that, where the fuck are you gonna be rapping?
Yeah, you're
gonna do other shit. Like,
that's true though.
Last couple questions. Okay. With everything that's gone on with this year with you, all the accolades, all of the like good shit and good vibes, right? What would be one word that you would use to sum up your 2019?
One word? This might be corny, but I feel like I'd say like amazing. Like actually. I don't think I could complain about much in 2019. Like I feel like I discovered myself and my career. That's fucking like career, like for real. Like if I play this smart, this is the lane for like a while.
For the foreseeable future.
Like, Haviah mighty, yo.
You won that prize. That would like right there. If I won something like that, just based off of the content of the quality of your music, I'd be on the roof. I'd be screaming to the like yes, like I would be like yo, this is because that's a big win.
It was honestly, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm never gonna get over it. I don't know if I'll ever fully process it. Well. Maybe like when you start getting accolades that
you're gonna have way bigger things happening
but that's
for
like
you.
if that's just the start, like shit.
It's
like,
I still am not over it. Like I still like sometimes when I think about it, I'm like like I get like a little oh shit like
that's a big deal. That's a big deal, man. That's a big deal, man. Lift that up for sure.
I'm really grateful for everybody that contributed to that album. Like made like it go into the pockets that it did and like take the risks that it did and like just every little thing like that was precious. Those times in the studio by myself, I was almost in the studio by myself, like sick for like 8 days.
Yeah.
And before that, like in the studio for like, you know, another like 4, like with Toolman and like just like starting ideas, and it was just crazy. And then like in my house, and it was amazing. It was amazing, you know, like.
So yeah, amazing is the right word for 2019.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So you're like, it's amazing. It's amazing. Everything's amazing. Yeah, so that was the right word.
So what do you got coming up for 2020? Besides the NYC show?
Well, I'm trying to get into the States a little bit more, so trying to just like focus on it a bit. I have a show in San Francisco the same month. And I'll be in LA. I don't know if I'll be doing shows, but I'll definitely be in LA doing some more networking and setting, you know, more footprints in place. You know, just we're trying to like do more placements always in the background, songs and TVs or shows, stuff like that. Just
you know, I forgot to mention the whole Insecure placement that you got. How'd that pop off?
Yeah, I met with a company, Greater Goods, in LA, and we started working with them, and that was my first like pitch. Yeah. And it was for Insecure.
Vamonos. Yeah, my glory is thick. Ryan Henny, yeah, I'm horny and lit. Try me, Becky, put a fork in your lip. Why your belly look like Porky the Pig?
That track. Yeah.
And they like just gave me some like intel, like season, I think it was season 3 is gonna have these themes, and these are some of the things you can hit. And I wrote like 4 hook ideas, and they chose the Vamonos one, and then I fleshed out a song to it, and then I submitted it. They submitted it, and then I didn't hear back until like maybe 3 months later. But that was like the first one I ever did with them, and then like it hit, so it was cool.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. Haviah Mighty in the motherfucking building.
Yes.
Okay, I want to hold you for one moment. We have something called Smoke and Mirrors. All right.
Smoking mirrors?
Smoke and mirrors.
Okay. Smoke and mirrors. All right.